6 months after the battle at the Cygnus Nebula, representatives from all coalition worlds gathered on the restored Araxian homeworld. The sky was clear blue, much like Earth's, and the rebuilt city gleamed in the sunlight. In the Grand Hall, the formal peace treaty waited for signatures. The Void Dominion, crushed after losing their command structure, had finally surrendered. Commander Hayes stood with Dr. Winters near the front of the crowd. Both wore formal uniforms with new medals on their chests. Around them were humans and aliens who had fought together to win the war. "I still can't believe it's over," said Winters softly. Hayes nodded. 3 years of fighting. It feels strange to think about going home. But Earth had changed too. The integration of alien technology had pushed human development forward by centuries. Clean energy powered all cities. New medical treatments ended diseases that had once been deadly. The first human colonies beyond the solar system were already being planned. Ambassador Peter Lawson approached the treaty table. As Earth's representative, he would sign alongside the leaders of the original 7 coalition species. "Today we welcome humanity as the 8th member of the Galactic Coalition," announced Zielfar. His blue scales had dulled with age, but his 4 eyes were bright with emotion. Without them, we would not be standing here today. The treaty was signed to great applause. The war that had nearly destroyed the coalition was finally over. At the celebration afterward, aliens and humans mixed freely. Cultural barriers that had once seemed insurmountable now felt small. Songs from Earth played alongside alien music. Foods from all worlds were shared. Zielfar found Hayes and Winters enjoying a quiet moment on a balcony overlooking the city. "I have been thinking about what makes your species so special," said the old ambassador. "It is not just your adaptability or your creativity, though those are remarkable." He looked out at the stars becoming visible as evening fell. "You taught us something valuable. That even when the situation seems impossible, there is always hope. That with determination and new thinking, even the worst odds can be overcome." Hayes smiled. "That's just being human." "Perhaps we all needed to learn a little of that humanity," said Zielfar. Back on Earth, cities held their own celebrations. The soldiers and scientists who had gone to space returned as heroes. Schools taught children about alien cultures. And in return, coalition worlds studied humans with new respect. Not everything was perfect. Some humans feared the rapid changes alien technology brought. Some aliens still doubted whether humans were ready for their place in galactic politics. But these were small problems compared to what they had overcome together. 1 year after the peace treaty, Commander Hayes and Dr. Winters stood on the porch of their new home in Colorado. Mountains rose in the distance, reminding Hayes of the landscapes on the Araxian homeworld. "The Coalition wants us back," said Winters, holding a message tablet. "They're forming a new exploration team to find peaceful worlds and establish relations, not to fight wars." Hayes put his arm around her shoulders. Her pregnancy was just beginning to show. Their child would grow up in a world where traveling to other stars was normal, where alien friends might visit for dinner. "What do you think?" she asked, leaning against him, ready for one more adventure among the stars. Hayes looked up at the night sky. Somewhere up there, their alien friends were looking back toward Earth, a world that had changed everything for them. "Always," he said with a smile. "But this time, we'll bring our family too." As they watched the stars together, ships from across the coalition flew overhead in formation, lights blinking in the darkness. The pattern they formed was an ancient Earth symbol, a handshake between 2 different beings. A simple sign that said more than words ever could. Together, they had found strength neither could have found alone. The time had come for the coalition's biggest move yet. Intelligence reports showed that the Void Dominion had a central command station hidden in the Cygnus Nebula. From there, they controlled all their military operations. "If we can take out that station, we can cripple their entire war effort," said Commander Hayes to the Coalition War Council. The plan was called Operation Daybreak. It would combine coalition firepower with human unconventional tactics. Every available ship would take part in the assault. Dr. Winters presented her newest invention to the Council. This is a quantum disruption field, she explained. When activated, it can temporarily disable Dominion technology within range. The device was small, but creating the disruption field required enormous power. It could only work for a short time before burning out. "We'll have one chance," Winters warned. "After that, the Dominion will adapt." The plan was complex. The main fleet would engage Dominion forces as a distraction. Meanwhile, a smaller team led by Hayes would sneak past their defenses and plant the disruption device inside the command station. Elite Guardian Krell and several other aliens who had embraced human combat methods would join Hayes on this mission. They had trained together for weeks, combining alien strength with human adaptability. On the day of the attack, tension filled the Coalition flagship. Everyone knew the stakes. If they failed, the Dominion would strike back harder than ever. Hayes spoke to his team one last time before they boarded their stealth ship. "We've come a long way together," he said. "Today we change the course of this war." Krell placed a hand on Hayes' shoulder. "It has been an honor to learn from humans," he said. "Today we fight as one." The Coalition fleet jumped into the Cygnus Nebula. Immediately, Dominion ships moved to intercept them. The battle began with intense fire from both sides. Under cover of the chaos, Hayes' stealth ship slipped past the front lines. Using the detection technology developed by Dr. Winters, they avoided Dominion sensor buoys. When they reached the command station, they found it heavily guarded. But the guards were looking outward, not expecting an enemy to get this close. Hayes and his team exited their ship wearing special suits designed for space combat. They moved silently across the station's surface to a maintenance hatch. Inside, they encountered Dominion soldiers. The fighting was fierce in the narrow corridors. 2 Coalition team members fell, but they pressed on. Meanwhile, the main battle turned against the Coalition. The Dominion had more ships than expected. The Coalition flagship took heavy damage, its shields failing. Pilot Amanda Kelly saw the flagship's situation from her small fighter craft. Without hesitation, she flew between the flagship and an incoming Dominion missile. "Get clear," she radioed to the flagship. Her ship took the hit meant for the larger vessel. The explosion was visible across the battlefield. Inside the command station, Hayes and his team reached the central control room. Dr. Winters had given him precise instructions on where to place the disruption device. 15 seconds until activation, Hayes said as they secured the area. When the device activated, its effect was immediate. All around them, Dominion systems shut down. Lights failed, weapons stopped firing, and shields collapsed. The Coalition forces seized the advantage. They pushed forward, firing at defenseless Dominion ships. Hayes and his team captured the Dominion Supreme Leader, an alien being who had ordered the destruction of countless worlds. With their leader captured and their command structure in chaos, the Dominion forces began to retreat. The battle lasted hours longer, but the outcome was now clear. When it ended, the Coalition had achieved its greatest victory. On the flagship, tired but triumphant, Dr. Winters received word of the mission's success. She closed her eyes briefly, thinking of all they had sacrificed to reach this point. The war wasn't over yet. There would be more fighting as they pushed the Dominion back. But for the first time, the end was in sight, and it had been human ingenuity, courage, and hope that had made it possible. The influence of humans spread beyond military tactics and technology. Their culture began to change how the alien species thought and acted. Lieutenant Kyle Bennett sat in the mess hall of the Coalition flagship. Several aliens gathered around him as he played his guitar. The strange sounds filled the room, and some aliens swayed to the music. "What is the purpose of this?" asked a tall Araxian with blue scales. "It makes us feel good," said Bennett. "It raises our spirits when things are tough." The concept of entertainment purely to boost morale was new to many Coalition species. They had art and music, but these were formal, serious activities. The idea of playing music just to feel better during wartime seemed strange at first. But after a few weeks, aliens began requesting what they called human sound sessions before difficult missions. They noticed that the music and stories helped them feel calmer and more confident. In the medical bay, Dr. Sofia Garcia had made equally important changes. The coalition medical technology was advanced, but their approach to injured soldiers was different from Earth's. "You focus too much on the physical injury," she explained to the alien medical team. "But trauma affects the mind too. We need to treat both." She introduced new methods for pain management and psychological support. Recovery rates improved dramatically. Injured soldiers returned to duty faster and with fewer lasting problems. The human approach to hope itself was perhaps their greatest contribution. Many coalition species had logical, practical minds. When the odds were bad, they accepted defeat as inevitable. Humans refused to give up, even when failure seemed certain. "Hope is not about odds," Commander Hayes told his alien friend Zilfar one evening. "It's about believing you can find a way, even when you can't see it yet." Zilfar considered this idea carefully. "Your species sees possibilities where we see only problems. It is refreshing." Not everyone welcomed the human influence. Some aliens worried that humans would grow too powerful too quickly. Others disliked the changes to their traditional ways. The Void Dominion saw this division as an opportunity. They began sending messages to coalition worlds, claiming that humans would eventually take over and push aside the alien species. "They are using us," the messages said. "Once they learn our technology, they will no longer need us." These words created tension on some coalition bases. Arguments broke out between humans and aliens who had previously worked well together. Ambassador Peter Lawson, who represented Earth's interests in the coalition, called an emergency meeting with the alien leaders. "The Dominion is trying to divide us," he said. "That proves they fear what we can achieve together." Zilfar stood up to support Lawson. "I was skeptical of humans at first, but I have seen their true nature. They fight not just for themselves, but for all of us." He showed records of human soldiers who had risked their lives to save alien comrades. He played videos of Dr. Winters working day and night to create technology that would protect coalition worlds. "These are not the actions of a species planning to betray us," said Zilfar. The tension eased, but the Dominion's psychological attack had shown a potential weakness in the alliance. Commander Hayes and Zilfar began working on ways to strengthen the bonds between humans and aliens. They created mixed crews on all ships. They encouraged cultural exchanges and shared meals. Slowly, trust grew stronger. On Earth, alien technology began to change human society. New medical treatments cured diseases that had seemed hopeless before. Clean energy sources replaced polluting ones. The first human colony on Mars grew quickly with alien building methods. But the war was far from over. The Dominion still controlled much of the galaxy. They were planning something big, something that would test the new human-alien alliance to its limits. In his quarters, Hayes studied the latest intelligence reports. Whatever was coming, they needed to be ready. The biggest battle was still ahead. Colonel Diane Rogers studied the enemy ship designs for hours. She had arrived 3 weeks ago with the third wave of human specialists. Something about the Void Dominion ships bothered her, but she couldn't figure out what. "Look at the shield generators," she said to the alien engineer beside her. "Do you see how they're all placed in the same locations on every ship?" The engineer, a tall being named Trell with skin like blue metal, nodded. "Yes, their design has been consistent for many years." Rogers smiled. "That's it. That's their weakness." She called a meeting with Commander Hayes, Dr. Winters, and the coalition leadership. In a large room with a view of the stars, she explained her discovery. "The Dominion ships always put their shield generators in the same places," she said, pointing to a 3D model. "They think these are the best positions based on their science, but it means we know exactly where to hit them." General Zorn looked doubtful. "Their shields are too strong for direct attacks." "But not for a concentrated attack from multiple ships at exactly the same spot," said Rogers. "We hit one point with everything we have. Their shields aren't designed for that." The plan was risky, but the Coalition needed a major victory. They chose the Helios Nexus, an important fuel station the Dominion had taken 2 years ago. Retaking it would give the Coalition a strategic advantage. Commander Hayes would lead the main attack force. With him was elite guardian Krelvor, a respected alien warrior who had embraced human battle tactics. "Remember, all fire on the target point I designate," Hayes reminded the fleet commanders. "No matter what else happens, keep firing at that one spot." The Coalition fleet jumped into the Helios system. 20 ships against the Dominion's 15, but the Dominion ships were larger and stronger. The battle began badly. The Dominion forces were ready and moved to surround the Coalition ships. 3 Coalition vessels took heavy damage in the first minutes. "Now," ordered Hayes, all Coalition ships fired at a single point on the lead Dominion battleship, right where Rogers had identified the main shield generator. At first, nothing happened. The shield held. Then, as the concentrated fire continued, a small flicker appeared. "Keep firing," shouted Hayes. The flicker grew. Suddenly, the shield failed completely at that spot. The Coalition weapons tore through the ship's armor. The Dominion fleet was thrown into confusion. They had never seen their shields fail this way. Krelvor led a boarding team onto the damaged Dominion ship. They fought their way to the bridge and captured valuable technology and information. Within hours, the battle was over. The Coalition had won their first major victory in years. They had retaken the Helios Nexus and captured 3 Dominion ships mostly intact. Back at Outpost Centauri, Dr. Winters and her team, including a brilliant engineer named Ryan Collins, studied the captured Dominion technology. "Their stealth systems are amazing," said Collins. "But now that we have one, we can find a way to detect them." Dr. Winters nodded. "And their communication technology. If we can crack their codes, we'll know their plans before they act." The team worked day and night. After a week, they had created a detection system that could find the Dominion's stealth ships. "It's not perfect," Dr. Winters told General Zorn, "but it will give us warning before they attack." With this new technology, the Coalition could finally protect their remaining worlds from surprise attacks, and with the strategy Colonel Rogers had developed, they could now defeat Dominion ships in direct battles. For the first time, the Coalition began large-scale offensive operations. Small strike teams hit Dominion supply lines, cutting off fuel and weapons to their frontline ships. Word spread through Coalition space. The war was turning. Hope replaced despair. The aliens who had once looked down on humans now sought their advice and friendship. In his quarters, Commander Hayes looked at a picture of Earth. So much had changed in just a few months. Humans had gone from being unknown in the galaxy to being key players in a war among the stars. "We're making a difference," he said quietly to himself. "We're actually turning the tide." 2 months passed. More humans arrived at Outpost Centauri and other Coalition bases. They brought new ideas and a fighting spirit that surprised their alien allies. General Zorn called a meeting with Coalition leaders. The large room was filled with beings from 7 different species. Commander Hayes and Dr. Winters sat at the table too, now trusted advisors. "The humans have qualities we lacked," said Zorn. "We must understand what makes them different." A scientist named Mira, with purple skin and 6 arms, displayed her findings on a large screen. "Humans see patterns where we do not," she explained. "Their brains evolved to spot hidden dangers and opportunities. They can make mental leaps that our logic-based thinking cannot. They also adapt quickly to new situations," added another alien. "What takes our species years to adjust to, humans can handle in days or weeks." Commander Hayes listened with interest. He hadn't realized how different human thinking was from their alien allies. "But most importantly," said Zorn, "humans have psychological resilience. They do not give up, even when the odds are terrible. They keep trying new approaches." In the weapons lab, Dr. Winters had made an important breakthrough. She combined Earth technology with alien power sources to create a new type of weapon. It was smaller than coalition weapons, but just as powerful. Our soldiers can carry these and move quickly, she explained to the alien engineers. The Dominion expects large weapons that take time to set up. These will surprise them. The alien engineers looked doubtful at first, but when they tested the hybrid weapons, they were impressed. Across the station, Commander Hayes trained mixed teams of human and alien soldiers. The aliens were stronger and had better vision, but they followed rules too strictly. Hayes taught them to improvise, to use the environment around them, and to think like their enemy. If you always do what is expected, you will always lose, he told them. Sometimes the crazy plan is the one that works. At first, the alien soldiers struggled with these ideas. They had been trained to follow exact procedures. But as they practiced with the humans, they began to understand this new way of fighting. A young soldier named Ryan Collins showed particular skill at working with the alien teams. He came from a small town in Iowa and had a way of explaining human concepts that the aliens could understand. Think of it like water, he told a group of confused aliens. Water doesn't try to push through a wall. It finds cracks or flows around. That's how we need to fight. Slowly, the coalition forces began to win small battles. They would attack in unexpected ways, retreat when the enemy thought they would advance, and strike from directions no one predicted. The Void Dominion leaders became frustrated. Their carefully planned strategies no longer worked against the unpredictable coalition forces. One evening, Hayes found Dr. Winters working late in her lab. She looked tired but happy. "The new shield modifications are working even better than I hoped," she said, "and I think we found a way to detect their stealth ships." Hayes nodded. "The training is going well too. These aliens are quick learners once they let go of their old ways of thinking." They looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the war continued. But for the first time, they felt they had a chance to win. "I never expected to be here," said Winters quietly. "Fighting a war among the stars." "Me neither," said Hayes. "But I'm glad it's us. Humans, I mean. We may not have the best technology or the strongest bodies, but we've got something they need." "Hope," said Winters. "We bring hope." That night, news arrived that a coalition strike force had retaken a small moon base. It was the first territory they had reclaimed in over a year. The aliens celebrated in their own ways, some with quiet meditation, others with strange music. The humans joined them, bringing their own traditions. And for a few hours, the different species forgot about their differences and focused on what united them: the growing belief that they could win this war. Outpost Centauri looked like a giant metal flower floating in space. It was one of the last coalition strongholds, and it was crowded with refugees from fallen worlds. When the human ship docked, many aliens gathered to see the newcomers. Commander Hayes led his team off the ship. The air smelled strange, and the gravity felt slightly wrong. Dr. Winters walked beside him, her eyes wide as she took in the incredible technology around them. "They do not look impressive," whispered one tall, green alien to another. "So small and fragile," agreed his friend. General Zorn, the station commander, greeted them with forced politeness. His skin was gray and rough like stone, and he stood almost 8 feet tall. "Welcome to Outpost Centauri," he said. "Your quarters are ready. Tomorrow you will observe our defense systems and battle plans." That night, the humans could not sleep. The sounds of the station, the strange food, and the knowledge that they were light years from Earth kept them awake. "They don't think much of us," said Hayes to Dr. Winters as they sat in the observation deck, looking out at unfamiliar stars. "They're desperate, not impressed," said Winters. "We need to change that fast." The next day, the humans watched the coalition's battle simulations. Hayes noticed problems right away. "Their formations are too predictable," he said to his team. "They fight like it's a chess game. Every move planned, nothing spontaneous." Dr. Winters was meeting with alien engineers. They showed her their weapons and shields. "Your technology is amazing," she told them. But you've had these same systems for years. The enemy knows exactly what to expect. The aliens seemed confused by her suggestions to try new approaches. 3 days after the humans arrived, alarms blared throughout the station. The Void Dominion had found them. 5 enemy ships appeared suddenly, attacking without warning. The coalition ships moved into their standard defense pattern. But the enemy ships had seen this before. They broke through easily, heading straight for the station. Commander Hayes ran to the command center. "Your defense pattern is failing," he told General Zorn. "We have no other options," Zorn said, his voice tight with worry. Hayes looked at the screens showing the battle. "What about those?" he asked, pointing to several small mining vessels docked nearby. "Mining ships. They have no weapons," said Zorn. "They don't need weapons," said Hayes. "They need to be in the way." Despite Zorn's doubts, Hayes got permission to try his plan. He had his team take control of the mining ships. They flew the small vessels into unexpected positions, confusing the enemy targeting systems. When the Dominion ships adjusted to fire at them, the coalition warships had clear shots at the enemy. In the engineering section, Dr. Winters worked quickly with her team. They had discovered that the station's shields could be adjusted to a different frequency, one the Dominion ships weren't prepared for. "It won't last long," she told the alien engineers, "but it might give us enough time." When one enemy ship broke through and fired at the station, the modified shields held. The coalition ships, following Hayes' new pattern, destroyed 3 enemy vessels. The remaining 2 retreated. After the battle, the command center was silent. General Zorn looked at Hayes with new respect. "How did you know that would work?" he asked. "I didn't," said Hayes, "but doing the same thing again wasn't working. Sometimes you have to take chances." Dr. Winters joined them, tired but smiling. "The shield modifications worked. We can make them better if you give us time." That night, the mood on the station had changed. Aliens approached the humans, asking questions, wanting to know more about their ideas. "Mining ships as decoys," said one coalition captain. "We would never have considered that." "Your people think differently," said General Zorn to Hayes and Winters. "Perhaps that is exactly what we need." Word spread quickly through coalition space. The humans had helped win a small victory. It wasn't much, but for the first time in years, the coalition forces had something they had almost forgotten: hope. The large meeting room in Geneva fell silent as the strange visitor finished speaking. President Allison Burke sat at the head of the table, her face showing no emotion, but her knuckles were white as she gripped her pen. Around the table, world leaders and military commanders looked shocked. Vexlor stood in the center of the room. His golden fur caught the light as he moved. He was shorter than most humans, but his large eyes and strange ears made everyone stare. "You expect us to believe this?" asked General Frank Martinez. His voice was rough with disbelief. "Aliens at war. And now you want our help." Vexlor touched a small device on his wrist. A 3D image appeared in the air. It showed ships, strange, black ships, moving near Saturn. "These images were taken 3 Earth days ago," said Vexlor. "The Void Dominion is already scouting your solar system. They take worlds. They use up resources. They destroy anyone who fights back." President Burke leaned forward. "If your coalition is so advanced, why come to us? We've barely reached our own moon." "Because you think differently," said Vexlor. "Our people follow patterns. We fight in ways the Dominion now expects. But humans, you are unpredictable. You find solutions where we see none." General Martinez stood up and walked around the table. "Show us more proof. Show us what we're up against." For the next hour, Vexlor showed them battles, planets destroyed, and star maps of coalition territory lost to the enemy. The room grew quieter with each image. "If they reach Earth," asked President Burke. "They will strip your planet of all resources," said Vexlor. "Those who survive will be slaves. This has happened to 12 worlds already." The world leaders talked among themselves in low voices. President Burke called for a short break. When they returned, she stood up. "We need to discuss this as a global community," she said. "But first, we need our best people to verify what we've seen." Vexillor nodded. "I expected this. My ship can take 5 of your scientists to see the evidence for themselves." 2 days later, the 5 scientists returned. They looked tired but determined. Dr. Olivia Winters, a physicist known for her work on experimental weapons, spoke for the group. "Everything he showed us is real," she said simply. "The coalition, the Dominion, the war, it's all real. And the Dominion scout ships are definitely in our solar system." Within a week, the United Nations held an emergency session. For once, old enemies set aside their fights. The threat from space made Earth's problems seem small. President Burke addressed the full assembly. "We face a choice: hide and hope these aliens ignore us, or stand with the coalition and fight for our future." The vote was not unanimous, but it was close. Earth would join the war. Commander Nathan Hayes received the call while training new recruits at the naval base in San Diego. He was to lead the military team heading to space. His record in special operations made him the clear choice. "Pack your bags, Commander," said General Martinez over the phone. "You leave for the stars in 3 days." Dr. Olivia Winters was working late in her lab when she got her assignment. She would head the scientific team, working to adapt human technology to help the alien coalition. "Bring your best ideas." The message said, "We need innovations they haven't thought of." 2 weeks later, the first human contingent prepared to leave Earth. 100 soldiers, 50 scientists, and 20 diplomats gathered at a secret location in the Nevada desert. Vexillor's ship was larger than they expected. It gleamed silver in the morning sun. Commander Hayes stood at the front of the human group, watching Dr. Winters check her equipment one last time. Neither of them knew what to expect, but both felt the weight of their mission. "Ready to make history?" Hayes asked her with a small smile. Dr. Winters looked up at the alien ship, "Ready to save it, I hope." As they walked up the ramp into the ship, Vexillor watched them with new hope. Perhaps these strange humans really could change the course of the war. They would find out soon enough. The room was silent except for the soft hum of the life support systems. 7 alien leaders sat around a large round table. Their faces showed worry and fear. Holograms floated above the table, displaying red areas that marked lost territory. There was too much red. Ambassador Zilfar, with his blue-scaled skin and 4 eyes, stood up slowly. His voice was tired. "We have lost the Araxian homeworld," he said. "Our strongest military force is now scattered across 3 star systems." The other aliens shifted in their seats. Some made clicking sounds with their mouths or waved tentacles in distress. "The Void Dominion advances every day," continued Zilfar. "At our current rate of loss, the coalition will fall within 6 months. A tall, thin alien with gray skin named Krell stood up. "We have fought for 30 years. How can this be happening? Our technology is superior." "Superior technology means nothing when we keep losing ships and planets," said Vexillor, a smaller alien with golden fur. "The Dominion simply has more resources now. They take our worlds and use them against us." A hologram changed to show the movement of enemy fleets. Black ships were pushing forward while blue coalition ships retreated. "We need a new ally," said Zilfar. "I propose we contact the humans." The room erupted in noise. Some aliens shouted, others made high-pitched whistling sounds of disapproval. "Humans, those primitive beings?" asked Mira, an alien with purple skin and 6 arms. "They barely leave their own planet. What can they offer us?" Zilfar touched a control panel. The hologram changed to show a blue and green planet, Earth. "The humans are young as a species, yes, but they have qualities we lack. They adapt quickly. They think in ways we do not. They still fight among themselves," said Krell. "How can they help us fight the Dominion when they cannot even unite their own planet?" Zilfar nodded. "Yes, they have conflicts. But when faced with a common enemy, history shows they can unite. And they have something else we need. They are unpredictable. He showed clips of human history, wars, disasters, explorations, inventions. Our civilizations grow in straight lines. We build on what came before in logical steps. Humans make leaps. They try things that make no sense. Sometimes they fail. But sometimes they succeed in ways no one could predict. An elder alien with skin like tree bark spoke next. Her name was Ula, and she was the oldest member of the council. I studied humans when I was young, she said. They are violent and emotional, but also brave and creative. When they face impossible odds, they do not give up. We need that spirit now, said Zielfar. Our logical approaches are failing against the Dominion. Vexlor looked doubtful. But their technology is primitive. What can they offer that would make a difference? Perhaps it is not their technology we need, but their minds, said Zielfar. Their ways of thinking. Their determination. The council members talked among themselves. The debate lasted hours. Finally, they called for a vote. Those in favor of contacting the humans, show your lights, said Ula. One by one, small lights appeared on the table in front of 5 council members. 2 remained dark. It is decided, said Ula. We will send an envoy to Earth. Zielfar nodded, feeling a small spark of hope for the first time in years. I will prepare a ship immediately. We have no time to waste. The question is, who do we send? And how do we convince humans to join a war they know nothing about? Send me, said Vexlor, surprising everyone. I was against this plan, so the humans will know I speak truth when I tell them how desperate we are. Zielfar looked at his old friend with newfound respect. Prepare for the journey, then. The fate of our coalition now depends on a species many of us considered too primitive to join our alliance. Let us hope we are wrong about them. As the council members left, the hologram still glowed, showing Earth spinning slowly in the darkness of space, unaware that its place in the galaxy was about to change forever.